Hi, thanks for coming. I'm Steph.
And I'm Rania.
And welcome to Setting the Table, a podcast for all the after dinner conversations. On today's table, we have community and building real connection in what feels like a very disconnected world.
There's some really bad stats with this episode, I would say. It's not looking good.
It's not looking too hot for us.
There was a poll done in November of 2024 that showed that over 80% of Gen Z felt lonely always or sometimes within the last 12 months.
That's an insane poll. I've had conversations with older generations about mental health, loneliness, and community. All that's kind of like connected in that conversation. And it does seem like it's such a new or like a much newer issue. Like
mental health or the state of it right now?
Like the state of it right now and the loneliness epidemic.
Okay.
You know, because I mean, I think it's fair to say that there's always been people who've like struggled with that, obviously.
Yes.
There's always been people who felt lonely or didn't have community or whatever, but like it seems to be such a new problem that's like really just exaggerated so much over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think it's the root problem for all the issues that we have. Like it's like the root cause of most of our issues.
Yeah, and the remedy to loneliness could be the solution for a lot of the issues we have.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe you're depressed for a different reason and you're not depressed because you're lonely, but
yeah.
Like, did you have community? Did you have people around you? Did you have support? Maybe that could be remedied, you know?
Even when you do, because you're going to go through hard things regardless in life.
Yeah.
But just having people surrounding you and having community makes things easier.
Mm-hmm.
The recovery time is better. You just feel overall better and supported when you have a bunch of people around versus if you go through it by yourself. You're more likely to kind of stay in the depths of the depression or the anxiety or the grief.
It's a lot harder to like pull yourself out of it.
Yeah.
It's like trying to pull yourself out of a hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like if there were other people there, that'd be a lot easier pulling you out.
It would, yeah.
But like if you're by yourself and you just got to figure it out, like it's going to take you a lot longer. You might figure it out, but...
That's a good analogy. I would not have pictured that first, but...
That's exactly what's going on in my head when I think of this.
Because I think a lot of people also take so much pride and they pulled themselves out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to. Like, I feel like there's so much pride in living life in hard mode.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the older generation kind of put that in us because it's like, I don't know, it's things that were harder for me back then. I had to walk 5 miles to school, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But in reality, they had way more support. And I think they just don't realize how much support they had. Like they think that we as moms should be putting up with this better than we are.
I think that society has just shifted so much. So our version of society is so different than theirs. So like when our parents were growing up, right, or like older generations, like we've talked about this before, and I know other people our age and people who are older than us too also have mentioned this, but like there used to be spaces that you could go and gather with people.
Yeah.
Where you didn't necessarily have to spend money to get in, or like you could just go exist. You could go coexist in other like public spaces, you know?
Yeah.
And like there's such a lack of those spaces now. Like there's not really any places for you to gather. You can have people over at your house, or you can pay to go out to eat, or you can pay to go to like
everything costs money.
A club or something, you know, like there's no place to gather. So it's like, yeah, society has kind of eliminated that opportunity to do that.
And even the places that you can gather, it's like a very specific type of person. Like I wouldn't gather at a club.
Yeah.
Like I know that is where a lot of people have their community, but like I wouldn't gather there.
Exactly.
I wouldn't want to be there.
It kind of isolates a lot of people because it's like if you're not into this specific activity, then you're not going to go there and you're not going to necessarily find community there.
There's a lot of reasons I think why we're struggling with the loneliness epidemic, and I don't know which one is the biggest. I'm curious what your thoughts are, but there's obviously the influence from the older generation, the boomers, and they've seemed to have pushed us to this other extreme. And I think we also took it to another level. So like they want us to be hyper independent. They want us to have an easier time. And it's just like, it shouldn't be this hard. They also don't want to respect our boundaries as much because there's a whole lot of talk about boundaries. And there's a lot of like those keywords, boundaries, manipulation, gaslighting, all those things. Very new and scary for them. They're not very good with change. And then we've kind of taken it to the next level where we're chronically online. We're obsessed with like ourselves
and our boundaries and our like our experience.
We want to be like the perfect, I think it's like well-intentioned because we want to be like good and perfect before we put ourselves like in a friendship or in a relationship. Like we're waiting for all the growth to happen, whereas a lot of these things happen in community, in relationships, in society. I feel like we kind of cast ourselves out, but we also cast other people out.
Yeah. Yeah, like the pendulum kind of swung really far, and now there's like there wasn't on the other side, you know, when you are hyper independent or really isolated, that's not really allowing any space for humanness.
Why do you think in your situation, why do you feel like you're lacking community? What is the biggest reason?
I would say the biggest reason is hard to like pinpoint, but I would say the fear of not being able to be human, like not being able to mess up or have a different opinion or like different things or, you know, like differ in any way. Mm-hmm. Like it's this constant fear of like, if I'm not like them, then I can't be in community with them, because nobody can have community where they disagree or where they have, different opinions, different views. So I feel like a lot of it is self-inflicted, because I'm like, well, I wouldn't be friends with them because they think this and they're not going to like that I think that, you know? So then it's kind of like an automatic shutdown before I even, and I feel like that was even the case with us before we were friends. It was like you had this assumption that I was this way and I had this assumption that you were probably that way. So then there was this time where we just weren't speaking, like not like weren't speaking, but we hadn't been introduced, or we hadn't introduced ourselves. And like, for what? Like, I mean, I guess in our situation, it was different in that like we were able to respect each other's opinions and differing views and things like that.
I think the internet has just like taken it to another level too, because we see people just like block and delete people like for having a different opinion or for liking certain things or whatever. We've kind of mirrored our life off of our online life. Like if somebody blocks you on social media, like you're not going to really interact in person, or you wouldn't want to. Like it's real life. Like it's become reality. Yeah,
that's so weird to think about though, because that's so unnatural to be able to just like completely remove someone from your life. Because if you even think about it, like it's unnatural and like this is the first time it's happening, right? But then if you think about it and you go back farther, when like I guess in the olden days, like when people, their communities were like their villages, right? They didn't have cars to go to whatever city or airplanes to go wherever they wanted at any given time. So your community was the people you were physically close to. So if somebody in your village had an issue with you, you're still going to be coming in contact with them, and you're kind of forced to figure it out, whether or not it was like you sit down and have a conversation like we aren't going to be close friends anymore or whatever, but like they're in your circle, you know? Yeah. Whereas now it's like, somebody can just be blocked, somebody can be kicked out of a friend group, and you literally never see them again. There's no closure, there's no communication, there's no human side to it. It's so weird.
No, it's definitely taken a lot of like empathy out of things. And that's obviously, again, another caveat of like, there are some people that you should remove from your life.
Absolutely,
and like for your safety or your kid's safety or whatever. But it is really unnatural. And like a lot of people relied on people more for community. So like it was detrimental to them not to figure it out. Yeah. And if you're interacting with somebody, I mean, you're more likely to just solve the conflict. You're more likely to have the hard conversation or forgive somebody else or whatever if you're in community with them and you're seeing them all the time. Yeah,
it's just a lot more like human. Social media is such a weird space because you have the option to bring somebody into your life, remove somebody from your life, and when we're on social media, we feel like we are connected to them. Like there's this false feeling of connection. And I remember listening to a Huberman Lab podcast where he was chatting about this and talking about how like it affects your brain in the same way or in a similar way, in that like you think you have community when you're on social media, but it's just like a quick hit of dopamine and then it drops.
Yeah.
It's true. Like you think if you're on social media, or how often do you think like, oh, I know what's going on in that person's life because I saw that they posted a story that they went here or they traveled there or they did this. Like we feel like we're actually involved. We feel like maybe we would feel if we were checking in.
Yeah.
Like if we were talking to somebody, if we were stopping by to visit or, you know, having a real conversation. We think we're doing that, but really you're watching their story or you're liking their story.
Like it's not
or
that
you're
deep.
liking their post. You know?
You follow like a couple for a long time and then like they break up and you're like,
yeah,
I'm heartbroken.
Yeah.
This is horrible. Like I do that a lot. I just feel like I've lived their life. Like I'll watch them on YouTube or I'll follow them on social media. And I just think that
it's so weird. And it's like an example of the pendulum having swung so far the opposite way, because people, when they get off of social media, say, I need to disconnect. Like from what? You're not disconnecting from anything. You're reconnecting because That's such
a good point.
This is an actual connection. It's not actual community. So it's just such a weird, like warped version of...
We've even changed our vocabulary. Like we've changed the way we talk about it. Like we're cooked.
Yeah. Yeah. We are.
We really are.
But you were talking about how like we've kind of taken it a bit too far, maybe to overcompensate for the older generations, not having boundaries, not doing that. But I feel like even just being on social media and observing other people that I don't know or even follow, but like especially like if I'm on TikTok and I see a random person coming on my For You page or whatever it is, it feels like everybody is so self-centered. Like everybody is so concerned with themselves, their life, what's going on in their life, and how what everybody is doing affects them. Like there's like it's completely removed
what they're gaining instead of what they're giving.
Yeah.
So it's like even with friendships, I mean, it's so disgusting. It's like we know that people go through seasons in life when like there might be a season where one friend pours more into the other, and that's perfectly normal. It's not it doesn't seem like it's okay with people anymore. It's like if your friend doesn't reach out to you all the time or whatever, you're the one kind of reaching out. Obviously there's a line there, but we don't have that grace anymore. I'm not seeing that grace anymore of like, oh, they're busy or they're in the trenches or they're tired right now or whatever. They're going through something. There's no grace anymore. It's just, well, I'm not receiving anything from this friendship anymore.
Yeah, it's not serving me. Yeah. It's so like transactional now.
Yes.
Like it's, what do I get from this?
Yes.
Couldn't possibly just be like, oh, we're connecting as humans.
No. And it's like, it's a whole other like mind game too. When I grew up, obviously I'm Moroccan, and like the Moroccan culture is like big on hospitality and like you would welcome a stranger into your home and like big on community. Like we always had aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, family friends, all that stuff, like all around us all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just normal to like call and check up on them. Like I have like, even though my family's overseas, like it would be weird if I didn't call them frequently. Like I call my grandma on a daily basis. And I was like, I'm still kind of culture shocked, even though I came when I was really young. It's really surprising to me how little people talk to their families and friends. Like
I remember that when we were first friends, and I was like, do you talk to your family every day?
Yep.
Like that was so shocking to me.
It's so shocking to me.
Not even like you're talking to your siblings or your parents every day, but like you're talking to extended family often. And I was like, I see those people on the holidays.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'll see them in between on a birthday party or something, but like unless I run into them randomly, I'm not speaking to them. But that was just normal. That's not like a boundary I have. That's just the norm. You know, if I called my aunt, she would probably be like, what the hell's going on?
But I think it's because nobody passed the torch. Like for me, why I am the way that I am with that is the older generation called me a lot when I was younger. So like I continued that relationship with them when I'm older, but I don't see that. Like grandparents don't call their grandkids, or like
that was such a crazy thing for me to like experience or think about when I had kids. And I realized how little interest older generations have in children. Like that was so, and like we talk about this a lot and in other episodes too, but like the disinterest in the generations that are being brought up that are going to be running our whole world.
Yeah.
it was so mind-blowing. Like, it was so crazy to see that people just don't care to communicate with them.
And I remember growing up, like aunts, uncles, like people would ask to see me. Like they'd ask my mom or my grandma, like, we want to see her, and like make an effort to come see me. That's not a thing. I can't remember the last time somebody was like, oh yeah, I really want to see, like, I'll come pick him up.
Yeah, that's wild. I can't imagine.
No.
I can't even imagine that.
No.
I don't think, like, my family wasn't like that, and I didn't have people that wanted to see me. So that's just such a foreign idea that, like, you'd hang out with. Although I guess I did do that a bit with some of my nieces and nephews, like, specifically when I was single and not a mom and whatever, and, like, didn't necessarily have a ton on my plate. Like, I would pick up my niece and take her places, or I would take my niece and my nephew. Like, I would, I would always think of them.
Why does it skip a generation?
I don't know.
Like, shouldn't it be their grandparent? Like, more? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'd think.
It, like, skipped a generation. Because, like, you're wanting to take your nieces and nephews out and stuff.
And I still, I would love to do that. And I think about that all the time, which
There's
is
no
why
seats.
I need a...
There's no car seat
I need
space.
a bigger car. I need a bigger car because I would have too many car seats in mine. But, like, I've thought about that so many times of, like, can I rent a bus to pick up my... I mean, I have a lot of nieces and nephews, so, like...
Yeah, I think you're a special circumstance.
Yeah. It would be quite a trip to take all 25 of them or whatever, and my own kids. But,
oh my gosh.
But, like, I have that want, and I think I've always had that want, like, to have community and to have, like, a circle, a sense of belonging, of the feeling like...
But we've replaced that even, like, okay, maybe we're not able to, like, see them in person as much, but we have, like, video chat and phone call, but people don't do that either. Like, people don't just call to talk to, or, like, I used to get called by my family. Like, I want to talk to Rania, and I would sit on the phone with my aunt or my uncle or whatever.
Really?
And just have conversations with them. And I think that was just, like, my norm. I had exposure to that a little bit in school. We're like, wow, people's families are weird. And then it wasn't until I got married that I was like, wait, like, you haven't called your mom in, like, 3 days. Like, does she know you're alive? Like, if I didn't call my mom in 3 days, the police would be at my house. Like, that's weird.
If my mom called me every day, I'd be like, what is wrong? What is going on? Like, she's got to have something wrong. That is so unnatural to me.
There's obviously pros and cons with that, because, like, you have more you have to deal with more conflict, like, more conversations and interactions you have, the more conflict there is.
But but that's where, like, that is what relationship building is.
Yeah.
Like, it's going through conflict, resolving conflict, and obviously, hopefully it's not all conflict, but, like, being in community with, having conflict, having resolution, and then going from there. Like, that is essentially what building a relationship is. So if you don't have that, you're kind of in this place where we are now, where, like, nobody has any real relationships. Like, it's so hard to... I have noticed just over the last few months, like, if you show the tiniest bit of curiosity or interest in somebody, they're taken aback. I think the other day I asked somebody, what was the question? It was
your
something
favorite song. You told me about this.
Yeah, I do say that. Yeah, I have said that. But there was a different question. I forget what it was. But yeah, asking somebody what type of music they listen to. Like, I've done that and gotten the response of, like, whoa, this is getting deep.
Oh my gosh.
Like, what do you mean this is getting deep?
When you're so starved for connection and community, it seems like insane that somebody would talk to you about that.
That's what I mean. Like, we're so deprived of it now that the slightest bit of interest in somebody is, like, it seems crazy. We're wired for productivity and performance over presence. That's true. I have noticed that, and that's something that, like, I've been intentionally working on and trying to, like, undo or rewire, I guess, is the natural instinct to try and impress somebody, like, to try and make somebody like me. Like, if I meet somebody, I will find myself trying to relate to them in some way so that they like me, instead of, like, showing up as I am. And if they like me, they like me. If they don't, they don't.
You just want to seem like you're you're valuable as a person. It's
Yeah.
almost like you're selling yourself. Like, this
It
is
is.
why you
Yeah.
should be friends with me, because I can give this XYZ.
Exactly. It feels like you have to have something to offer.
Yeah.
Or else that relationship won't last.
Yeah.
God forbid you just show up as a human and you both enjoy each other.
Or God forbid you're like in the trenches of motherhood and you don't really have that much to give right now.
Yeah.
You're just not of value at all. So
Yeah.
why would anybody want to curate a relationship with you? Because that's
Yeah.
what it feels like.
Yeah, it's true. It feels like you have to, and even I feel like that, and maybe this is just a personal thing that I shouldn't feel, and it's just like my fear, but I feel like even as mothers, we do that. Like,
Yeah.
from one mother to another, when we are both in the trenches and we know like each other do not have a lot to give, or I know I don't have a lot to give, and you know you don't have to have a lot to give, and we're both going through it, like we tend to just isolate.
Yeah.
We tend to just separate
I'm like,
ourselves.
I don't want to
because
burn.
I don't have anything good to offer you.
I do that on a weekly basis.
Yeah,
I'm like,
we do that. It's like every Tuesday
yeah,
we do that.
I'm like, I should call her. I'm having a really hard day. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, I'm having a really hard day. I should not talk to her
Yeah.
and like burden her more.
Yeah. And it seems like we're kind of in sync. Like, we have
Yes.
bad days on the same day.
Yes.
So then we just go without speaking for a good 24 hours.
Yes.
And
And
then
it's
we're
like,
back.
hey,
Yeah.
did you see the weather today? You're alive.
Go outside.
Yeah,
You
go
need
outside.
to ground.
Yes, that is honestly the like majority of our exchanges.
Yeah.
Just you need to get outside
You
today.
need to go outside,
Yeah.
get some fresh air. No, but yeah, it's funny because like we've been friends for a long time. There's no doubt or confusion around our friendship,
Mm-mm.
and we still feel that way.
Yeah.
So especially
deep.
when you don't know somebody that well, when you're not that close with somebody and you don't necessarily know where they stand with you completely, then that desire to just like isolate yourself if you don't have anything to offer is so strong.
So what do we actually do about this? How do we
What's the
get a
remedy?
community?
Yeah.
Or build one?
One thing that I think is so important, and I've noticed is so prominent, is people always assume they can and should only build community with people of the same age.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Isn't that so weird? Like, that has never been the case.
I've heard that people who are homeschooled don't really struggle with that as much as people
Yeah.
who are like in public school, because I was only around kids that were my age versus like anytime I talk to a homeschool kid, they're like, yeah, they were with younger kids, older kids.
It's true. Actually, now this
Yeah.
is clicking in my brain.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's why I don't have an issue
hmm
talking to or asking for advice from older people.
It might be because
I
honestly,
don't feel
I've only
that.
heard it from there.
Yeah, and I've always like found myself being friends with people of all ages. I can have a great time with somebody years younger than me, and I can have a great time with somebody 10, 15, 20 years older than me. Like, that's not, in my mind, that's never an issue. But I'll see people in local Facebook groups for moms and stuff, and it's like, I'm a mom and I'm this age. If you're a mom that's this age,
Yes.
let me know. And it's like, why?
Or it's like-
why when you're 23 can you not hang out with somebody who's 28? Like, that's so
No,
strange.
It is. It's so strange. And that's so funny you mentioned that, because that was I was so excited to get to Utah and like be on a base, and like we all kind of had a commonality, but it was like, even in like the military community, it's so bad. It's disgusting. It's like wives that are between this age and this age, or it's wives whose husbands are ranked this and this.
Oh, that's so weird.
So like you
They're
weren't
like
allowed.
extra.
Yeah.
They take it and the
It's
extra
their
stuff.
husband's like their husband's rank is their rank, and that's the only wives that they would hang out with was like E5 and above.
Oh my gosh.
So we're like, we just get there. He's like an E3, and I'm like, I guess this is the loser table.
that is so crazy.
Yeah.
But that kind of happens everywhere.
with,
I feel like.
police officers.
Yeah.
Or we see it in high schools and schools all around. Like there's like little cliques and stuff.
Yeah.
But do we have to bring that out of? We can't leave that
Yeah,
there.
let's leave that in high school. That's like a normal developmental thing that kids go through in middle school.
Let's
You
not
should probably be
continue
over it
that.
by high school. Yeah, let's not continue that into the real world, because then you're going to be 27 and fucking depressed because you have zero friends.
Exactly.
Because God forbid somebody who didn't go to the same exact school as you and have the same major and graduated at the same exact time want to be friends. You're not going to know what to do with yourself.
I know that we know that we're struggling with this, but I don't think that people understand the gravity of the situation. Like, I think it was Dr. Huberman actually that talked about isolation being equivalent to smoking.
Yeah.
Like it's for your health.
Yeah.
And that's a basic need. It's like
Yeah.
food, water, shelter.
Well, and I think that people aren't aware of how desperate they are for it until they have a tiny bit of it.
yes.
I have like over the last couple of months working in a new job and just being introduced to a lot of new people, I realized, because for a long time I kind of just lived in my own little bubble too. So now I'm forced to speak to people on the regular, like I'm forced to meet people I never would have met or necessarily talked to before. And the amount of times that I have been told, like, wow, you're the most interesting person I've met, when I just maintained a basic conversation, like it was so shocking to me to see.
Or took interest in them.
Oh yeah, this is a specific example, but this happens all the time. Like if you ask a question about somebody, they act like they don't know what to do with themselves. Like I had a woman and her brother come into the bar, and they're so nice. I know the brother. He's a regular and he's just the sweetest guy ever. And he came in with his sister. And so when I showed up, he introduced me to his sister and he was like, this is Steph and whatever. And he said that we had chatted before and whatever. So I just, I introduced myself, asked her how she was doing and whatever. And then she said, well, we're together because we just went to our older sister's funeral.
Oh God.
And that was so sad. And I was, of course, like, oh, I'm so sorry. That's horrible. And they had ordered a drink at the same time. They were like, we're just having a drink and like reminiscing. And so as I served them their drink, I was like, what's your favorite memory with your older sister? And they were shocked that I asked a question. They just told me their older sister died. And they were absolutely shocked that I asked, what was your favorite memory?
What was going on in their life?
They like
something as monumental as losing somebody.
Yeah, they all night long they thanked me for asking that question when it was just a genuine question. Like they were there, they were reminiscing. It was both of their older sisters. Like that's a huge loss, and they had never had somebody ask them something like that. Like they had been talking to a whole bunch of other people, and nobody had asked them a question about her when they were already reminiscing. And it was just that was one moment where I really, like, that really stood out, where I was like, wow, people are so like lacking in any sort of connection or conversation with all the humans you're sitting right next to.
It's validating.
Yeah.
In this point, it's very validating.
Yeah.
And so sad.
It is, but I think like the remedy to it starts with like becoming a better conversationalist. That's like, something that I wanted to do. And what I said was like one of my yearly goals is becoming a better conversationalist, because I think that helps if you're able to maintain a conversation with somebody and just learn how to word your interest and curiosity, because I've always been curious about other people. Like I've always wondered what that person's story is or what this person might be going through, but being unsure of or feeling like I didn't know how to ask them or how to talk to them about it. So like learning how to just ask those like uncomfortable questions, I guess, even though they shouldn't be uncomfortable, but they kind of feel like it. But learning how to just ask those questions and start the conversation, it kind of signals to them like, hey, I am a person that you can talk to. I am kind of extending some grace here and like offering some connection.
My go-to whenever I like hear that I have to work on something or that I take interest in wanting to learn something, my go-to is just like, oh, like watch a couple of videos on it and take a course. There is no taking a course on this. This is one of those things that you just get better at by doing. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the hardest part for me is like going into it and knowing that I have to imperfectly do it first before I can be a good conversationalist. Like it has to start somewhere. Mm-hmm. Yes, some people have more like of a natural way of talking to people and stuff like that. I've noticed every single person that I talk to has something that I'm like interested in or want to learn or like something new that they're offering me. Like there have been so many incredible impactful statements made or connections made off of speaking to people that I never would like approach or start a conversation with.
Yeah. I think that's so true. And I'm the same way. Like I'm naturally an introvert. Mm-hmm. I naturally just want to like shut up and do my own thing. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons why I went for a job like I did, working at a busy bar, because I knew it would force me to get out of my shell, and I just have to talk to people all night
Do you think you're actually an introvert, or do you think that was just a response to like your upbringing and stuff? Because you do it so effortlessly. Like you'll talk to people and like you're kind of my crutch socially. I'm like, she'll
It's
go
funny
first,
you say
or, like,
that because
I just
feel
sit
like
there
you're
waiting
that for
to be
me.
introduced.
That's so funny because I feel like you're that person for me. Like I
That's
feel
so-
like if Ranya's there, it'll be fine.
That's crazy.
That's what I always. Yeah, I don't know. I do think whether or not I was an introvert at birth, I don't know. It might just be a learned behavior.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well, do you feel good when you talk to people? Like, do you feel like energized?
I light up when I talk to people because people have so many interesting things. People have so many interesting stories. I love to hear what people think, do, experience, know.
Why they do it.
Yeah, it's so interesting and I love to hear it all. But naturally, I am just behind the bar with like a resting bitch face. Like, don't talk to me. But it's forced me to talk to people all night long. And I have met some incredible people that I absolutely never would have started a conversation with and connected with or thought I would connect with. Otherwise.
You know what my favorite things to do is that I don't do as often as I'd like, but if I like something someone's wearing or their makeup or something, just being like, I really like your shoes.
Mm-hmm.
People are so cute, especially like women are adorable. They'll be like, I got them here and they're on sale. And they just like light up because a lot of people do have like RBF. They do have resting bitch face. But I'll be like, I love the way you did your makeup. Or you're so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And they just like, oh my gosh, thank you. And then their entire demeanor changes. And then that will spark a conversation. Yeah. Or just like watching them walk away like lighter. Just like, it's a high for me.
I love that. I love that too. That was also one of my New Year's goals. I was like, compliment people more. Say what I'm thinking so much more. And it's funny because I don't know if you do this, but when I see somebody that, like if I see a girl that just looks so pretty or she looks so put together, she has an amazing outfit on, I think my natural reaction is to not say anything because I just assume, I don't know, I just assume like she's heard it, like it's not going to really make a difference. Like she's already heard it, but kind of being on the other side of it, like I do light up when somebody compliments me because
and
that
who cares
isn't
if
normal.
They've heard it multiple times.
Yeah, but even I think we assume that they're hearing it a lot more than they actually are. Yeah. Like somebody will tell me, oh, I love the way you did your hair. And I'm like, really? Like I haven't been told that. And I didn't know I didn't know if it actually looked good. I'm just out here hoping and praying, gosh. But I think we just assume that people know. And so then we don't speak on what we're thinking. But
it's true.
I love to compliment people and they do light up. Like it makes their whole day.
It makes me like skip away and giggle. Like I love doing it because they just, the way they carry themselves after. It happens with me too. I'll catch myself. Like,
yeah.
And
it's so funny because I don't know, like, I don't know if you can pinpoint where we unlearned that because kids give compliments so naturally.
Insults, compliments.
They also give insults naturally. But like they compliment so naturally. If they think you look pretty, they're going to tell you. Like I have been wearing some of the ugliest things or look horrible in my luteal phase and like you look beautiful today. I know. And it's just like,
do you know what I think it is? What? It's these damn phones. I
really
were right. think it is. They were right all along. It's these damn phones because we're just like, if I see somebody, even with stories, like commenting and being like, oh my gosh, this looks so good. I'll think in my head, she looks amazing. I won't swipe up and say something. I should, because she probably has creepy guys saying she looks good. Yeah, I might as well.
Save her from the creepy guys. No, I have started doing that a lot more. Like if I catch myself thinking something, I'm going to respond. Yeah. I don't care if we're not close friends. I am going to like, your matcha looks delicious. The sunset's beautiful. Yes. I love your outfit. Or
I loved this book, or just like starting a conversation that way. I don't think we have to go like full drastic yet. Like if social media is where you're meeting the most amount of people because you're at work 9 to 5. Yeah. And there's like no time to socialize, then social media is how it started. I mean, we started off of social media. I mean, I messaged you.
Yeah. I think that, just like utilizing what we do have, and social media is a great way of connecting with people. Like it is a great way of being virtually introduced to people. So if you just use it as a tool instead of like use it to isolate or dissociate, then yeah, you could find incredible community on there.
You can pull a lot of good things off of social media. I know I've learned a lot from social media, but there is also a community aspect that I'm not taking advantage of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like on the topic though of like becoming a good conversationalist, one thing that would be a huge remedy to feeling isolated or not really having close relationships or community is becoming a better listener, which I think we're both still learning. We find when we listen back on these podcasts, we find each other just cutting each other off all the time. But
stop. But also, I know you're going to finish my sentence, so I'll just let it happen.
I think we are just a little bit telepathic, so we like understand what each other are trying to say. But it feels so unnatural to sit and listen to somebody and take a second before you respond. Like
right now.
to just actually listen and think about how you feel about that, or if you agree with that, or if you have something to offer to that, you know?
There is something really human about just relating. Like, and I do love when people relate to things. I'm like, I'm not alone. But that is, it is the go-to. Like, if you say something, I'll be like, I don't know, I feel horrible when this happened. I'm like, last week I did that and then this happened to me.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the default. And I have to just be like, all right, let's listen to the full story. And then at the end we can say this. Instead of leaving the event or the interaction and being like, God, why do I keep talking?
Yeah.
Like, why?
So I've noticed in being more intentional about this that people light up the same way when you listen really well to them as they do when you compliment them. So like if you're having a conversation and you don't bring yourself into it, like this is something that I have been actually very intentional about whenever I'm meeting new people recently. Like this is a very recent development. I'm not good at it, but I've been trying. When somebody says something like, oh, I'm not talking to my mom. Oh, whatever. Instead of asking like why or how, like trying to relate to it in some way, just continuing the conversation by saying, and how do you feel about that? And how do you feel about that? Like the conversation will go so far.
Really?
Yeah. Because
I have the opposite. I think it's because every time a therapist is depicted, it's always like, and how did that make you feel? And whatever. And I'm like, I think I'm more for the questions. I'm more for like, what happened? When did that start? When did that? Whatever.
Well, not that those questions are bad. I think that those questions are great, but you'll find it gets a lot deeper, a lot quicker. Yeah. And it feels like one thing I've noticed that it feels like our generation reserves all of their authentic feelings and emotions only for their therapist. And I think that's why it feels so unnatural to have friendships that are actually close, because we reserve everything we're feeling and thinking for like the professional that we're paying, because we feel like a burden if we say how we're really feeling,
If the feelings aren't correctly identified, correctly processed, nice in like a nice box with a bow on it, then it needs to be processed in private. And that just doesn't work. It doesn't work in any society. It really doesn't.
And we even saw that play out literally last week when I told you when I told you like some serious news.
Oh yeah.
And I did not know how I felt about it. And you were like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I'm just going to dissociate.
Yeah, no.
But like having another person here forced me to like stop for a minute and think about it and feel it. And like otherwise, I probably would have just dissociated until I see a therapist in a few months and I'm like, hey, I found this out and that was really hard. And let me pull that out of the closet to deal with now. Like it just forced me to actually be present and think about how I felt.
Things. Yeah. We can face things head on, and then they're not as heavy. And then when you do put yourself in that situation again, or you want to talk about that situation, it is a little more polished, but we can do that polishing with somebody else.
Yeah. And it just feels a lot like lighter. Had I been by myself, that like would have just thrown off my whole entire week, month, who knows how long. And I would have just been doing everything I can to dissociate and not think about it,
So I feel like there's a lot of things that we want or we like or that we do. We don't do all these things.
Yeah.
But these are things that I would appreciate or you would appreciate. And so many of the things are intentional. They're small, but they're intentional. And it might seem like it's not a big deal, but it is. Like, Caleb and I have a family friend who sends us a letter, like a card every holiday, or like remembers our birthday. Like, I know this girl has like a calendar or like a little book with like people's birthdays in it. And like, we'll send a card, like even for our kids. That's every really holiday. Cute. Like we literally look forward to getting her letters in the mail. Like they're so sweet. I want to be like her. I want to do that more. You want me to send you foot painting mail? No, I will call the police. I will. No. I'm going to have to do that. No. But it's, to her, it's your birthday. It's normal. Of course she's going to do that. Like, that is her natural go-to. Like, it probably at this point isn't a big deal for her. Like, she takes a few minutes to remember you, to think about you, and to think about whatever might be going on in your life right now, and be like, hey, you're noticed. I remember you. I'm thinking of you, you know? Also, have you noticed that cards are so expensive? The other day, we were at the store, and I'm trying to pick out a card, and it was $14. I was going to say, I think I've spent $14 on a card before. That is disgusting. That's insane. That's disgusting. I used to always only hand make the cards. And that was one of the things this year. I was like, if I'm writing a card, I'm making it. I would keep that more than I would keep the $14. I've gotten $14 cards, and I will end up recycling them because they overstimulated me. They're always orange and like blue. Yeah. Or just, they're so overstimulating. Like, I don't want to keep it. You don't need an entire show. Yeah. But I have boxes of cards. I don't want to keep this. Yeah. But if it's like handmade, if somebody handmade me a card or drew me something, I'm keeping it. Or if it's from like a little kid. Oh yeah. But I will say that TJ Maxx has like the packs. Like, you can buy like a pack for like $5 and it's got like 20 cards in it. Or the dollar store, it's like 2 for $1. Really? Yeah. I've never. It's like happy birthday or whatever. So like, I think a lot of people see the price of cards and like, I'm not just going to send a random whatever. But if you spent 50 cents on a card, and then how much are stamps now? 25 cents still? I have no idea. Up? I feel like stamps are so fucking expensive. 35 cents? Like, I swear to God, I spend $100 every time I get 4 stamps. I would say $25. No, I think it's like $15 for like a little pack of them. Oh, okay. Something like that. No, I think you're right. It seems like a fortune because you're paying it for like a sticky piece of paper. Like, why are you so expensive? But that's also something that you can do. And I think one of the hacks here is having those things on hand. Yes. You know, keeping it like going out and buying a pack of cards so that when you're thinking of somebody, you can just write it. And it's not this big process of, I need to go buy a card. Get some universal. I need to think of what to say. I need to go buy stamps. Like, just have these things on hand. So when you think of them, when you want to write them a little note, you do that. And it's the same, like I feel like we're both the same way, where we try and do that whenever we're hosting. Yes. Like, you have people coming over. Okay, there's going to be snacks out. You're going to offer a coffee. You're going to have extra things. If somebody needs to stay over, they can. Oh, like, I am big on that. Like, people already feel like an inconvenience. And I know I feel like that at people's houses. So I'm like, what can I do that's in my control? Have extra toothbrushes. Have extra toothpaste. Have extra toiletries. Yeah. Towels. Blankets. Like, going to people's houses as a kid and like sleeping over, or like, God forbid, falling asleep, and they have like, you're using like their sweatshirt they left on the couch to like cover yourself with. Like, do better. Have an extra blanket out there. I had one friend whose mom was very good, and like I always felt comfortable sleeping over, but you end up with like a bathroom mat as your blanket or something for the night. You're like under the rug. No, it's true, but we just get so stuck in our own routine and our own ways and our own our own ways of life that we forget that little things like that actually make a big difference and can bring about a lot more connection. You know, my other goal is what? I want to celebrate more things in life. Like, obviously I had like a lot of traumatic things happen in my childhood, and a lot of traumatic things happen like medically and all of that. And it's really put the like how fragile life is in front of my face all the time. Like, I'm constantly reminded of it to the other extreme. Yeah. When I see something, like if I see like a vase or something that I think you'll like, or candles. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, this is great. I will just pick them up because I'm like, why am I going to wait until it's her birthday or Christmas to give her this? Like we should have just like, if you're able to spend the money, just buy it just because. Give it to her just because. Don't wait for some special occasion.
Yeah, it's like because then also when Christmas comes around or your birthday comes around, it's like there's this pressure that you have to get something. So it kind of removes the personal like aspect to it. It's like, oh, well, I have to get this person a gift, so I'm going to get them this vase. Where really, like, you saw it on a Tuesday. Yeah. You're like, wow, this reminds me of that person. Let me get that for them. And like, I know I felt like, wow, that's so special. Like, she thought of me when she saw this. You know,
it's
like,
less
it means
transactional
something.
because like on your on Christmas or whatever, like you're both exchanging gifts, and it's like I gifts are like very weird for me too. Like I'd rather just like get somebody something and stop holding on to things for special occasions. Yeah. Same with like, I don't know if our generation does this at all, but I hate this about previous generations of like keeping like certain china locked away.
That's so weird.
Like what?
I feel like I've never done that.
It's like a reminder to your family that like they're not like dinner with them every night isn't special.
Yeah. I've never, that's always been so weird to me. And like, I will always have flowers or candles on the table. And like, I don't care yet. You can use the cute little glasses that I bought. Like, of course, that's always so strange to me.
It is. I think I will say the candle thing is like new to me. Like I always have candles, but then I'll like them for special occasions. And it wasn't until we started being friends that I was like, wait, I have free will? Yeah. I can just light these candles whenever. The candles,
and you can just put the flowers on the table. Yes. And you can just put music on. And
or you can just buy the flowers. Yeah. Period.
Yeah, exactly. Just, start like creating space for more connection. Like start making people realize that they're actually very special and mean a lot to you, even if it means you just like set a table.
Yeah. And then when you start doing those things, people realize that they are actually a big deal. Yeah. Having dinner with your family and being all gathered around and being healthy is something to celebrate.
Yeah. Yep.
I think we were talking about earlier, just like the out of sight, out of mind thing that we do with family. We're like, we think about them. I know that people think about me or think about my kids, but they don't reach out.
They're always thinking about you.
Yeah. Yeah. They're obsessed with me. They're always thinking about us, but they don't reach out. So then it's out of sight, out of mind. If you're the person that is like that, and I think with like my husband's family, it is that way. And he started setting reminders like in his phone because that is a habit that he wants to be able to break. Yeah. Like he'll be super close with his like friend or with his siblings or whatever. And then as soon as like life gets busy, which it does, there's seasons, you just kind of drop the ball on like checking with people and then it just falls off. And I think the best way to go about that is to like set reminders like, okay, Tuesdays is when you call your grandma.
Actually a really good idea.
Yeah. Just like having designated days of the week. I know for a fact we used to call his grandma Val every Sunday and she would like look forward to that. We'd have like a little video call with her.
That's really cute.
It's so cute. And it's such a small thing. And we started doing it even if we're like, oh shoot, we're not home. We're like out to eat or we're in the car. We'll still call her. Just
like, you guys are really good about that. Like even I see the way that Caleb has like shifted and does that with his own family. Yeah. Like that is really impressive to me. That is so uncomfortable. And so if I called my brother right now, like, well, he would probably first of all not pick up. Second of all, if he did, be like, what's wrong? You know, like I have tried to be better about like sending texts, but like that's not really enough. You know, I should be able to just call my sibling and that be like normal and that be like expected and not like something so crazy. Yeah. But like if I called up one of my siblings right now, they would probably be like, what's wrong with you?
I know. But I think that's why it's up to us. Like, okay, we know your siblings might also be feeling the same way. We don't know. Yeah. But that's out of our control. Like they're out of our control. But what can we do? Well, we can start calling them and it's like, well, it's uncomfortable for me, but it's going to be uncomfortable for you. But I'm going to call you. Yeah. Like, yeah, I just wanted to check in on you. And they're going to be like, that was strange. Yeah. What the heck just happened?
Be like, has anybody checked on her recently? Is she good mentally?
Are you feeling okay?
Yeah.
They're going to have to eventually get used to it.
Prepare to be sick of me.
Prepare to be sick of me. We are a little brain rotted because every single episode has some kind of TikTok audio in the background.
It's really
Someone's
bad.
going to be listening to this in the car and be like, what are you talking about?
I know. That's really bad. There is always something going through. That's it. It all comes back to these damn phones.
Yep.
God damn. We got to get off the phones into the real world because
we got to disconnect.
We got to disconnect. I'm logging off of Instagram. I'm disconnecting. No.
So we talked about a lot of things.
We did.
But I feel like there are some very small but very intentional things that people can implement, and we're going to start implementing more.
Well, yeah, I feel like that is like one of the biggest points, and something that like we talk about a lot is that it doesn't have to be some huge drastic change.
No.
Having a community isn't like you are going and handpicking these people from all across the world to now build your life with. Like, it can be so simple, such simple little changes that you make in your day-to-day life or on a weekly basis. On Sundays, you do that, you know? Like, it doesn't have to be big things. And I think that that's the key to like actually building, like very slow, but steady.
So if you're listening to this, I guess the challenge is, if you're thinking about somebody, I would just think right now, if you're thinking about somebody, maybe give them a call. And if that's too scary, because I get it, the phone is scary, text them.
Yeah.
Or maybe a letter if
Maybe
you're feeling adventurous.
I actually really would like to send people letters. I often think to do that, but then when I start writing, I don't know, I've always liked to write. So whenever I start writing, I just write so much and I'm like, nobody's going to read this.
They will.
Yeah, they probably will. And I should just
read your letters on a bad day. I still have letters from you.
Really?
Yeah. I still keep them.
Yeah, I should just do that because I'm always like, nobody wants to hear all that, but it just comes out.
I will straight
naturally.
up opt the cards out of the gift because I've written and rewrote.
Really?
And I'm like, this is a little cringe. This is a bit much. I feel like I'm always trying to tone it down.
Yeah.
But why?
Why?
Like,
you got to take it back to extreme dramatic letters.
What happened to that? God forbid somebody's a little dramatic. God forbid somebody's obsessed with you. Bring back
obsession. No, but
how many
bring
Leo
back
statements can we take out of this?
But bring back being authentic and letting people know.
Yep.
Yeah. So what are the challenges? You said it. Send a text.
If you're thinking about somebody, do
Write
it.
a letter.
If you're out at the store, pick up an extra toothbrush or some extra snacks.
Or compliment the stranger that looks really good right now.
And if that's on social media, swipe.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yep.
We loved having you here. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Setting the Table Podcast, and listen on all podcast streaming platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, like, and comment. Again, we love hearing from you. So if you guys have an idea for a topic, or if you want us to elaborate further on something that's mentioned, we'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you next Friday at 6.